1, 2. Hey, hey, hey. All right. What were the three takeaways? Anybody? Come on. What did we learn? Tests don't have to be expensive. That's good. There are treatments out there for Alzheimer's. I think you're going to be hearing about that later today. That's exactly right. Anyone else? He needs funding. Who wants to fund Dr. Santucci? Is there anyone here? All right, everyone. The next speaker is actually one of my friends. He's just a peach of a human being, a wonderful guy all the way around, super smart. And he was the very first guest we had at the Park James Hotel when we did our speaker series. Please welcome to the stage Dr. Niko Dimitriadis.
Hey, can you hear me? Am I on? On? Hello? 1, 2, 1, 2. That's amazing. Can you please show them what you have on your palm?
All right, so Dr. Niko has a difficult last name, so I actually phonetically spelled it out on my hand, so I wouldn't.
Bravo, that's amazing. That's one of the best I got. We have the slides ready. Nice to have you. Maybe I have to hit the button. Yeah, maybe. Yes, this is me. How are you? Second year in a row. Wow, we made it. How many of you were here last year? Let's see. Raise your hands. Last year, how many of you? Nick, you were here last year? I think I remember. You're right. Okay, so to me, this feels now like a family, not like a conference. We're not just people here that want to hear something new. We're a community. So thank you very much for having me in this family. And as part of the family now, I want to welcome you all to this family. So welcome. So let's do something. I was planning to do something else in the beginning, but I just got the idea before I came. Can we do something all together? And you will see how it relates to my speech a little bit later on. Okay, ready? Can you please have your arms like this and move them a bit? Like, prepare them nice. Some heat from the morning. Oh, you're fantastic. Bravo. Now, do like this. I want all of us to clap at the same time. Can we do it? Okay, I will be the director of the orchestra, right? Let's try once. Wait for me. Wait for me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Good. I think we can do a little bit better. Wait. 1, 2, 3. Third time. 1, 2, 3. Wow, fantastic. Bravo. We synchronized. And you'll see how this is important for longevity. So, I'm Dr. Niko Dimitriadis. I'm traveling the world to talk to people like you. I apply neuroscience to business, education, and other socioeconomic fields. With my teams, we have measured more than 9,000 brains. I think it's around 9,500 brains at the moment. More than almost 400 projects now. I wrote a few books. I established the very first MSc in neuromarketing in Southeast Europe. And a few years ago, I started also getting these lifetime awards, which I'm so proud about, but it also shows I'm getting older, so I'm not sure I should be mentioning it. Great. So for those of you that you were here last year, but also to set the tone for this year, I have just a big thesis, a big statement, which my whole speech is about. Talking about physical health without talking about mental health is not only a mistake, it's dangerous. Discussing longevity without discussing mental and cognitive states is a no-go. And we have all the science to prove it. So it's not about living longer, and it would be nice to also live happier, but living happier makes you live longer. It's something that science knows so well, but somehow it slips our attention. And we always go to the hardcore, and we should. Hardcore biological and medical information, fantastic genetics, it's very important, but we consider this as soft issues, if you want fluffy issues, and they are not. They are as powerful and strategic as it's your genes. Now, how do we know this? I will just mention a study that I introduced to you last year, but I have the feeling I said so many things last year, maybe this a little bit slipped from your attention. It's this study, the Harvard study of adult development. Since 1930s, end of 1930s, hundreds of, in the beginning there were only men, then later on they added kids and women as well. They studied how long people live, how happy and how healthy they are. What did they find? Which is this attribute, this characteristic that actually determines more than anything else how long you will live, but also how well you will live. Look at this. Close relationships, more than money or fame, is what keeps your life worth living. Those ties protect people from life's discontents, help to delay mental and physical decline, and they are better predictors of long and happy lives than social class, IQ, and even genes. Okay. And this finding was true for the original part of Harvard, let's say, participants, but also inner city participants. What is really fascinating? How many of you are 50? Around 50 years old? Your health at 80 is predicted more by how many quality and quantity of relationships now at 50 than your blood pressure. This is some amazing information that needs to transform our lives, because maybe we are looking at the wrong information or incomplete information. Okay, so the people who were the most satisfied in the relationships at the age 50 were the healthiest at age 80. Loneliness kills. It's as powerful as smoking or alcoholism. And we live in an era of a loneliness pandemic. Have you heard of this? The loneliness epidemic in the world. Let me tell you some interesting statistics that I found out recently. In 1990, what do you think was the percentage of people that declared that they have no friends? Percentage of people in 1990 that said that I have no friends. 3%, 2 to 3%, fantastic. How much is today? It starts, depends on the study, from 80% and it goes up to 20%. What the hell are we doing with our lives? And then we are thinking how to improve our health and how to live longer. Now, this was last year's stuff. I presented this already last year, but I wanted to include it because it's a very powerful study. The newest study I wanted to present to you, and as you will see, these results came up very recently. You see, October 2nd, 2025. This is out of Boston University, and it's called the New England Centenarian Study. It's the biggest study in the world with people living 100 and above. Actually, it started in 1995, and they track 3,000 centenarians over a 30-year period of life. What do you think they found? What do you think they found? People that live over 100 have these characteristics. They have a good overall psychological well-being. How are you feeling today? Good? Fantastic. They let go easier of bad things. When something bad happens in their lives, they don't linger a lot in this situation. They persevere. They have resilience. They go above and beyond. They deal with issues and move on. Actually, if you heard about these big 5 personality traits, they score rather low in neuroticism. Okay. Ready to try new things. They are open to new experiences. They tend to be very outgoing. They also score very high on extroversion. They meet new people. They constantly expand their social network. Don't think about digital social network. Think about the real life social network. And also, and that's the last part, they have a strong sense of purpose. When they wake up in the morning, they have this passion, this fire, this urge that this day matters. I have to do things because I have to do things with other people. And finding joy in life. What they don't do, and this is, I think, very interesting for the discussion today, is first, they don't sit around doing nothing. They don't follow a specific diet. I'm Greek. I believe in the Mediterranean diet. This is not what I mean. We put olive oil anywhere, even on our sweets. So, but what the study found is that they were not fanatic on some branded diet like keto or paleo, etc. They were very careful with their food, but not fanatic with a specific diet. They don't go to the gym. What? They are active though. From early in the morning, they do stuff. Okay, they're very energetic. And very interesting, connecting with the previous presentation about Alzheimer's, they don't develop neurodegenerative diseases despite having significant buildup of amyloid and tau proteins which are associated with Alzheimer's. So if you see their brains and their brains with somebody with Alzheimer's, the brain looks quite similar. But they don't have all the behavioral characteristics or the cognitive characteristics of somebody having Alzheimer's. So something else is in play here. What is in play here is what now we call cognitive superagers. cognitive superager, not only to reach 100, by physical longevity and your mind not to be strong, but your mind to be as strong as your body. And why this is important in what we did in the beginning with clapping? It's because cognition is something that happens not just in your head. Cognition is not only about you. Cognition, and what is cognition? The way that you perceive the world, the way that you analyze the world, the way that you respond to the world, it has to do with memory and learning. So cognition is not only about you. Cognition expands, it happens outside also of your skull. The connection, especially the connection with your environment and other people. We call it extended cognition. Okay, so the way that you think and your brain works and how you understand what's happening around you is not only about you, is you in relation with everybody else and everything else in your life. Now, with our main dish is the following. I think we have a human superpower. Dealing with and reading brains for the last almost 20 years, I came to understand that what is really our human superpower is what is called neural synchronicity. Brain synchrony or neural synchrony, you can call it many names. It's when my brain, not all of it, but some specific parts, synchronizes, which means vibrate, which means the oscillation in the brain waves that you have heard, the frequency synchronizes with yours. And our brains behave, move, feel like a single system. This synchronization between our brains is what makes us great. And you will see a few examples in a bit. First of all, have you been any time in a meeting, in a presentation, in some social event out with your friends that you left afterwards and you said, what was that? I didn't get it. You enter a meeting, there is some strange vibe, but you cannot get this vibe. You cannot synchronize, you cannot connect, as my 14 years old daughter says, with the vibe. Says, Father, where is your vibe? You didn't get the vibe. Do you feel sometimes like that you're somehow disconnected or excluded or not immersed in some happening, some situation, some social meeting? Did you feel like that? Okay, don't worry. This happens to all of us, and it's when we fail to synchronize with those around us. How do we know about neural synchronization? I will show you some tests in science. This is out of Oxford University, where mothers and babies, infants were called to the experiment. As you see, they both wear nice electroencephalograms, and they are asked to interact. Under which conditions the brain of the mother synchronized with the brain of the infant? And these were the conditions. First, I see my slides are a little bit psychedelic, don't worry. Probably because of the software difference. So, positive mood interaction, which means that we synchronize positively with people. So if the mother, if the caretaker was a little bit agitated, maybe there was some fight before she came to the experiment, maybe while driving she had some incident on the road, and she was in a very bad mood, the brain of the baby could not synchronize with hers. So positive mood. Wake up in the morning with a positive mood. Second, extensive eye contact. The moment that the mother was locking eyes with the child, synchronization was enabled. But as soon as they looked at it differently, synchronization was lost, was out of tune. And last, constructive tone of voice. Even when the mother had to be a little bit strong on the child and maybe correct it in some behavior, so even in corrective behaviors, when the tone of voice, the frequency of your vocal cords pulsating to generate sound, when this is also representing positive mood, synchronization was sustained. What did the study found? That this kind of results apply to other types of bond, romantic relations, close friendships, siblings, partners, your team at work. And the strength of this is that it has an interesting loop with trust. The more you trust somebody, the more you synchronize. The more you synchronize, the more you trust somebody. Okay, we talked about infants. Let's move up to children of about 5 to 7 years old. Another very interesting experiment. They asked this couple to talk. And in psychology, we have various variables by which we can measure a conversation as productive or unproductive. Some of these you can see here. Taking turns, duration of turns, relevance of what each other says, intrusiveness, which has a positive and negative effect. The more intrusive you are, the less the conversation goes well, and contingency. Now, and at the same time, as you see, electroencephalogram measuring the brain if it is synchronized. Which of these you think had the strongest impact in predicting neural synchronization? All of them were important. All of them were important. This in a negative correlation, the other with positive. But which one was the strongest in predicting neural synchronization? What else? Excellent. You're a fantastic crowd. Taking turns. And think about this. You know, I don't know if you are managing teams or you have, you know, colleagues and partners at work. If you start a meeting, let's say you have 1 hour meeting, business meeting, with your team, and you start the meeting and you take 30 minutes of the 1 hour meeting to set the scene. Then 10 minutes, you tell me what you think, you tell me what you think, you tell me what you think, and another 20 minutes to close the meeting. Forget neural synchronization. It doesn't work like that. Think about, remember, conversations that you really loved, conversations that made you feel alive and energetic and passionate. And when you finished the conversation, you said, wow, this was amazing. What were the characteristics? You will see that it was not a monologue. It was a real dialogue, like a kangaroo jumping from the one person to the other. Okay, great. Let's see something else. And we are not the only ones to synchronize. Animals synchronized as well. Fascinating research. Bats, when bats synchronize through their sonar, through their voice, they perform much better as a social group. Higher neural synchronicity is associated in bats with more affiliated behaviors like sitting close or grooming, while less synchrony can appear during conflict. So we know in nature it doesn't happen only with humans, but with any social species. Not only bats, bees do it as well. Bees synchronize by behavior, meaning the way that they fly and the way that they move their wings and their bodies. And they get in this collective rhythm, which is absolutely amazing. And for bees, synchrony isn't just about two individuals tuning into each other. It's about aligning hundreds and thousands of these small brains into a collective and coherent whole. So synchronization in bees and in humans is not only between one-to-one, it can be also in a larger group. And the closest cousins of ours with apes, again, they have a complex social life. They also synchronize. And in experiments where they had to perform collaborative tasks, the teams that were synchronizing were much more effective in doing the tasks. Do you want to have a super performing team? You need to synchronize with your team. If you don't synchronize with your team, forget top performance. Okay, now, for the next 2 slides, I need a little bit of a help because we said taking turns, right? Can you please stand up? Now, those that you are already up, I don't know, you stay up. Okay, great. Just it will take, and you will please do this with me. I do it for the first time. You will do this with me until I finish this slide, okay? Can you please join hands? Join, I know it's a bit awkward in the beginning, but join hands. We will not sing Kumbaya, Hare Krishna, don't worry. Although the fact that religious cults do this shows the power of what we are doing now. Hold hands. Both hands have, you know, okay. Now, close your eyes and try to feel a little bit the warmth and the connection that goes through your holding hands. Okay, let's spend a little bit time on that. Open your eyes, stay like that. Now wait until I finish the slide and then you are free to sit down. And so neural synchronization leads to better physical health. First of all, because neural synchrony also occurs with heart rate and respiratory synchrony, it is proven that it improves cardiovascular regulation. So we have physical, biological benefits from neural synchronization. The opposite, if we don't have neural synchronization, this increases inflammation and it leads to a poorer immune system. So we need synchronization to have better immunity. And the last one, what you're doing now, in many studies, couples who exhibit neural synchrony while holding hands show reduced perception of pain. So neural synchronization is a pain relief. Do you have a headache? join hands. Thank you so much. You can sit down. You helped me very much. Fantastic. You are amazing. But it's not only about physical health, it's about mental health as well. I hope whoever had some pain now has less pain because you're holding it. Also, social bonding, okay, and feel of belonging. So, neural synchronization lowers your stress hormones. It helps you with mood regulation. It increases oxytocin levels, which reduces anxiety, and also helps with cognitive performance because it can help you reduce cognitive fatigue and avoid burnout. So we have all the science that neural synchronization is our superpower for physical health and for mental health. Now, to go towards the end of my speech, I don't know how much time I have. I missed it. Okay, I assume I have another hour since I don't have the clue. Human, good assumption. Okay, so let's see at the end what neural synchronization helps us to do. First, feel each other's inner experience. How do we call this? When we get each other and we feel each other and we step into each other's shoes? There is a word, empathy. So neural synchronization is really an integral part of better empathy. It helps us communicate more effectively. If you talk to your spouse or your partner, your boyfriend, girlfriend, or whoever it is, and you tell them 10 times the same thing, and tomorrow they don't remember anything or they didn't understand anything, it's because you didn't synchronize. Okay, so when you have to repeat something a million times and the other is not getting it, there's a big chance no neural synchronization. Okay, so synchronize with your partners before explaining your plans for holidays, for example. We learn from each other because the moment that my brain synchronizes with you, it follows you and we follow each other moves, and thus we improve and we learn new skills and new tactics and new ways. We bond each other in tighter social groups, which is very important evolutionary speaking for humans. And if you are leaders, managers, and you are leaders in your own field, we respond more effectively together in external threats. You remember also in apes, the experiment with the tightrope, synchronized groups of apes perform the task collectively much better. Great. And the most important, it makes you feel happier. And this is evolutionary speaking the message that neural synchronization is good for us. The moment that we synchronize, we feel better, we feel elevated. There are happy chemicals in our brain. When was the last time you went and you danced in a club? Last weekend, yesterday. Nick, tonight, in the after party, we need to synchronize. Come and find me to synchronize, okay? Right, great. So you see, when we sing together, when we clapped together, when you hold hands, when you work with your team and you feel like, wow, what a day, when you have a great conversation, you will feel happier. And that's the evolutionary signal that this is what we should be doing. Okay, but there is always a but. Neural synchronization is not about everyone doing the same exact thing, right? Neural synchronization, as in a great basketball or sports team, is about people doing different responsibilities, but still in a synchronized way. Now, this is a little higher, a little bit more advanced, a little bit more complex way of synchronizing. So it's not all together jumping up and down and singing together this evening. That's one level of synchronization. The other level of synchronization is we being in a band, I'm playing guitar, somebody else the drums, somebody sings, and we synchronize doing different things. We do different things, but we do it together. And that's a great study that came out of China that showed how exactly this works. So we put people to solve a puzzle. You see, in groups, electroencephalogram, or separate electroencephalogram, they see all these items. The task is to find specific items in a specific in specific ranking and sequence in order to achieve the task. Okay, to complete the task. Question: which condition helps to faster and more efficient and effective completion of the task? Together or alone? You see how I primed you with all my skills. But actually, it was alone. Apart from the teams that synchronized. So working, so working together doesn't mean synchronization. You can work together with somebody, don't synchronize. Actually, better to work alone. So working together and activating our superpower needs something different. The fact that you're in the same room dealing with the same thing or doing a task does not mean you synchronize. You need really to synchronize. How do we synchronize? This is the way. First, you learn for each other. You learn, when they met in the experiment, and without the scientists asking them, the people that worked together, that they first shared some personal things about their lives, they were faster to synchronize. Because your brain would not synchronize with somebody you didn't know. So you all know Nick back, right? Nick? You don't know Nick. And Sandra. Sandra is also here. Sandra is running about organizing things. Nick is enjoying here. Okay, Nick. Nick, thank you, man. So, Nick, what is your favorite music the last period of time? So, if you have to get in the car and put some music to energize you, what music would it be? Well, my parents are deadheads, so I like the good old rock. Fantastic! Wow. And this period of time, what's your favorite meal? What do you enjoy more? Sushi. Okay, fantastic. And where would you like to go for holidays after finishing this successful event? Just to relax? Amazing, fantastic. Thank you. Big thanks to Nick for participating. So you see, what we did here is familiarization. You have a new member in your team. Don't just throw this new member of the team in the deep waters to execute. You need first to understand who they are. So knowing better each other, being warm to each other, have this positive mood that we said before, specialization of tasks, interaction during the task. So what these teams did, said, okay, you take this half, I will take this half. But then they were helping each other. Hey, can I help you? How are you doing? This kind of interaction and support. Validation. Did you find your? And at the end, celebration. So working with people does not mean you synchronize. Working with people under these conditions means synchronization. And when you do this, then you kick butt. Okay, we said there is always a but. Last slide is the following. What do we do? And we unknowingly, without being aware, we inhibit neural synchronization. So we do some things without knowing it that actually kill the possibility of us synchronizing. And we do this, unfortunately, every day. So what kills neural synchronization? What is the kryptonite to our superpower of neural synchronization? You see some things on the screen. Low interaction. When you see somebody rarely, or your team is all around the world and you meet once or twice per year, don't expect neural synchronization. Prolonged bad mood. We are human beings. Of course, we will have bad mood. It's normal. Actually, when we talk about emotions, bad does not mean negative. Bad means unpleasant, and unpleasant emotions have their own evolutionary goal, and they're great, and they should be there, right? So when we talk about emotions, please, when we say bad emotion or bad mood, doesn't mean something always that you shouldn't have it. Of course, your brain says something very important to you through the bad emotion. So unpleasant. However, if it is prolonged, it minimizes the possibility of synchronizing. Or you might synchronize with other people with bad mood, and that's not good. Okay. Okay. No eye contact. When you do Zoom calls, please the speaker always to be big in front of you to be able to look at their eyes. Okay, so not small windows and nobody can see no one. Negative tone of voice. We saw it with the study with the babies. Depression, anxiety, aggressiveness. This is the trinity of destroying neural synchronicity. Uncertainty. When your brain is really lost and doesn't know what to do, unfortunately, will refrain from synchronize from others. We talked about fight or flight in the morning. Unfamiliarity, out group, and no trust. The last thing is this. How many of you are married? I cannot help you anymore. How many of you are about to get married? Then I can help you. Why? You come to my lab, you put an electroencephalogram, your significant other wears an electroencephalogram. You see some clips of movies that create basic emotions, anger, joy, sadness, okay, disgust. If your brain synchronized while watching the same clip, this predicts longer and happier relationships, which lead to longer lives. If not, I hope you have a prenup, okay? So, I want to finish how we started. Let's see, since you understood now and you know much more about neural synchronization, let's synchronize once again, and I leave you to enjoy the rest of the day. Again, everybody, ready? Wait, ready? Little bit of heat. We have to get it right from the beginning. 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.